morning children. Welcome to SST class. Children, in today's class we are going to continue the history unit 2. Lesson name is the post-Mauryan India. Come, let us go to study. Now we can study about the Satavahana's in the south, the Kushanas in the north and the Satavahanas in the south, that means in Andhras, flourished for about 300 years and 450 years. That means what? The Kushanas were ruled 300 years in north and the Satavahanas ruled 450 years in the south. Simuka was the founder of the Satavahana dynasty. He ruled for 23 years. After him, who was the successor? His brother Krishna. Krishna ruled for 10 years, and after that his nephew Satakarni, he ruled for 10 years. During their period, they established the empire, holding control over a vast area stretching from Rajasthan in the northwest to Andhra in the southeast, and from Gujarat in the west to Kalinga in the east. Among these, Satakarni is performed 2 horse sacrifices. That means what? He made Ashwamedha Yaga to make his kingdom very powerful and strong. Is it clear? Gautami Putra Satakarni, he was the greatest ruler of these Satavahanas. In the Nasik Prashasti, it was published by his mother Gautami Balasri. Gautami Putra Satakarni is described as the destroyer of Sakas, Yavanas means the Greeks, and the Pahlavas means Parthians. The extent of the empire is also mentioned in the record. Their domain included Maharashtra, North Konkan, Berar, Gujarat, Kathiawar and Malwa. His ship coins are suggestive of Andhra's skill in seafaring and their naval power. What is seafaring, children? Sea trading. Okay. The Bogar inscription suggests that South India played an important role in the process of early state formation in Southeast Asia. Children, what you see on the picture is the coin of Satavahanas. Okay. Now let us see the contributions of these Satavahanas. Literature. The Satavahana king Hala, he was himself a great scholar of Sanskrit. The Kantara school of Sanskrit flourished in the Deccan in 2nd century BC. Hala is famous as the author of Satasai. He was the author of Satasai, that is Sabdasati. It contains 700 stanzas. In which language? It is in Prakrit language. Next we can study about the art and architecture of these Satavahanas. The Satavahana rulers were great builders. They began constructing Buddhist stupas in Amaravati. A bronze statue of the standing Buddha discovered in Okyo, which is an archaeological site in Vietnam. It resembles the Amaravati style only. The later Satavahana kings, they issued lead and bronze coins depicting ships with 2 masts. A stone seal discovered in Nakhon Pathom, which is in Thailand, it has the same design. Gandhara, Madura, Amaravati, Bodh Gaya, Sanchi and Bharuch were known for splendid monuments and art. The Madura school of sculpture produced images and life-size statues of the Buddhist, Brahmanical and Jain deities. That's all about these Satavahanas. Now next we are going to study about the Indo-Greeks, Indo-Parthians, Sakas and Kushanas. Indo-Greeks and Indo-Parthians. After the conquest of northwestern India and the Punjab region, Alexander the Great, he left the conquered territories under the provincial governors. Two of its eastern satrapies, that is Bactria and Parthia, they revolted under these Greek governors and they declared their independence. The satrapy means the states of Bactria became independent under the leadership of whom? Deodatus I. And Parthia became independent under the leader of Arsaces. After the decline of the Mauryan Empire, the Greek rulers of Bactria and Parthia, they started encroaching into the northwestern borderlands of India. They entered through which side? Northwestern border of India. The Bactrian and Parthian settlers gradually intermarried and intermixed with the indigenous population. These Bactrian and Parthian people, when they entered India, they slowly mixed with the Indian people. They intermarried. They intermixed with our population. This facilitated the establishment of Indo-Greek and Indo-Parthian colonies along the northwestern part of India. Is it clear, children? Next, we can study about the rulers of Indo-Greek. Demetrius I. He was the son of Greco-Bactrian ruler Euthydemus. He was king of Macedonia from 294 to 288 BC. Numismatic evidence, it means what? The study of coins. That evidence proves that Demetrius issued bilingual square coins with Greek on the head side and the Kharoshthi language on the other side. So he issued two sides coins in a square shaped coin. In that one side will be the Greek language, the other side will be the Kharoshthi language. Who issued this coin? Demetrius. The scholars are not able to decide which of the three named Demetrius. That means what? There were three persons in the name of Demetrius. The scholars were not able to find out who was among these the initiator of the Yavana era commencing from the 2nd century BC in India. Next, Menander. He was one of the best known Indo-Greek kings. He is said to have ruled a large kingdom in the northwest of the country. His coins were found over an extensive area ranging from Kabul Valley and Indus River to western Uttar Pradesh. Milinda Panha, a Buddhist text, is a discourse between Bactrian king Milinda and the learned Buddhist scholar Nagasena. That means what? Milinda Panha is a Buddhist text. Text means a book. It gives the conversation between the Bactrian king Milinda and the Buddhist scholar Nagasena. This Milinda is identified in the name of Menander later. Menander is believed to have become a Buddhist and promoted Buddhism. He changed into Buddhism. Okay. Now we can study about the rulers of Indo-Parthians, otherwise Pahlavas. Indo-Parthians came after the Indo-Greeks and the Indo-Scythians, who were in turn defeated by the Kushanas in the second half of the 1st century AD. Indo-Parthian king or Gondopharid dynasty was founded by Gondopans. The domain of Indo-Parthians comprised Kabul and Gandhara. The name of Gondopans is associated with the Christian Apaches. St. Thomas, according to Christian tradition, St. Thomas visited the court of Gondopans and converted him to Christianity. Converted means changed. Next we can study about the Sakas. The Indo-Greek rule in India was ended by whom? The Sakas. Sakas are nomads. They came in huge number and spread all over northern and western India. The Sakas were against the tribe of Turkey nomads. Sakas were Scythians, nomadic ancient Iranians, and they were called Sakas in the language Sanskrit. Saka rule was founded by Maos or Moghine in the Gandhara region, and its capital was Sirkap. What is the capital? Sirkap. His name is mentioned in Mora inscription. His coins bear the images of Buddha and Shiva. Rudradaman was the most important and famous king of Sakas. His Junagadh and Girnar inscription was the first inscription in chaste Sanskrit. In India, the Sakas were assimilated into Indian society. It means what? They mixed with the Indian people. They began to adopt Indian names. They started adopting Indian names and practiced Indian religious beliefs. The Sakas appointed Kshatrapas or satraps as provincial governors to administer their territories. This is what about the Sakas. Next we can study about the Kushanas. The Kushanas formed a section of Yuchi tribes who inhabited northwestern China in the remote past. The Kushanas overran Bactria and Parthia and gradually established themselves in northern India. Their concentration was mostly in the Punjab, Rajputana and Kathiawar. Kushana rulers were Buddhist. They belonging to Buddhism. Takshashila and Mathura continued to be great centers of Buddhist learning, attracting the students from China and Western Asia. Kanishka, he was the greatest of all the Kushana emperors. He assumed the sovereignty in 78 AD and he proclaimed his rule by the foundation of a new era, which is what later became Saka era. Kushana capital initially was Kabul. Later it was shifted to Peshawar or Purushpura. Cadphises I. He was the first famous military and political leader of the Kushanas. He overthrew the Indo-Greek and Indo-Parthian rulers and established himself as a sovereign ruler of Bactria. He extended his power in Kabul, Kandahar and up to the Indus. Next, Cadphises II. He maintained friendly relationship with the emperors of China and Rome and encouraged trade and commerce with the foreign countries. Some of his coins contained the inscribed figures of Lord Shiva and his imperial titles were inscribed in the Kharoshthi language. Conquest of Kanishka. Kanishka conquered and annexed Kashmir. He waged a successful war against Magadha. After the conquest of Kashmir and Gandhara, he turned his attention towards China. He defeated the Chinese general Pan Qiang and safeguarded the northern borders of India from Chinese intrusion. His empire extended from Kashmir down to Benares and the Vindhya mountain in the south. It included Kashgar, Yarkand, touching the borders of Persia and Parthia. Kanishka was an ardent Buddhist. His empire was a Buddhist empire. Kanishka adopted Buddhism under the influence of Ashwagosha, a celebrated monk from Pataliputra. Kanishka made Buddhism as the state religion and built many stupas and monasteries in Madura, Taxila and many other parts of his kingdom. He sent Buddhist missionaries to Tibet, China and many countries of Central Asia for the propagation of Buddha's gospel. Propagation means to spread Buddha's principle. He organized the 4th Buddhist Council at Kundalavana near Srinagar to sort out the differences between the various schools of Buddhism. Next we can see art and literature. Kanishka was a great patron of art and literature. He was a great supporter of art and literature. His court was adorned with a number of Buddhist saints and scholars like Ashwagosha, Vasumitra and Nagarjuna. He founded the town of Kanishkapura in Kashmir and furnished the capital of Purushapura with magnificent public buildings. The Gandhara school of art flourished during his time only. The most favorite subject of the Gandhara artist was the carving of sculptures of Buddha. Buddhist learning and culture was taken to China and Mongolia from Takshashila. The great Asiatic culture mingled with Indian Buddhist culture during the Kushana's time. Kanishka's successors were weak and incompetent. Kushana Empire rapidly disintegrated into a number of small principalities. Thus the end of this Kushana Empire. That's all in this lesson, children. Thank you, children. Bye, children.